There's a lot to digest and a lot of voices to be heard. Stick to the frequency that amplifies these voices, stories and reports that make the difference. This is Agidigbo News, 88.7 FM.
This is Kunle Amzat Studio, Agidigbo 88.7 FM. Welcome to News Around the World.
A very good evening to you, and you're welcome to News Around the World on the most listened to radio station, Agidigbo 88.7 FM Ibadan. I am Wuraola Yusuf. The headlines: Federal government enforces no work, no pay on striking ASU members. Oyo government prioritizes maternal child health by strengthening primary healthcare systems. Trump urges Israel and Palestinians to embrace peace after Hamas frees all living hostages. Madagascar's president has left the country after Gen Z protests. Bendel Insural FC appoints coach Kennedy Boboye as technical manager. And now the details. The federal government has directed vice chancellors of federal universities across the country to strictly enforce the no work, no pay policy against members of the Academic Staff Union of Universities currently participating in the ongoing nationwide strike. The directive was contained in a circular dated today and signed by the Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, and was copied to the head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Permanent Secretary of Education, Pro-Chancellors of all federal universities, Director General of the Budget Office of the Federation, the Accountant General of the Federation, and Executive Secretary of the National Universities Commission. According to the circular, the Federal Ministry of Education expressed dissatisfaction over reports of the continued industrial action by ASU, despite repeated calls for dialogue, stressing that government will no longer tolerate non-compliance with extant labor laws. The minister directed all vice-chancellors of federal universities to immediately conduct a roll call and physical head count of all academic staff in their institutions, and also instructed them to submit a comprehensive report indicating staff members who are present and performing their official duties and those absent or participating in the strike. The Oyo State government has prioritized maternal and child health by strengthening primary healthcare systems, expanding access to skilled birth attendants, and promoting digital health innovations. The State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Oluwaseri Miajetumobi, made this known during the Maternal and Newborn Mortality Reduction Innovation Initiative workshop held at a popular event center in Ibadan. Agidigbo FM News correspondent Oluwapemi Bamidele was at a workshop. Here is a report.
Nigeria faces one of the highest maternal and neonatal mortality rates globally, accounting for 12% of all maternal deaths, stillbirths, and neonatal deaths. Between the year 2000 and year 2020, while many countries progress in reducing mortality, Nigeria remained among the few with persistently high rates. Critical challenges include inadequate healthcare access, low-skilled birth attendant density, and financial barriers to care. To address this crisis, the Nigerian government launched the Maternal Mortality Reduction Innovation Initiative, MAMI, in November 2024. MAMI prioritizes life-saving interventions for women and newborns, including both supply and demand-side strategies to strengthen healthcare services in the 172 most affected local government areas. Oyo State being one of the states where 4 local governments, namely Ibadan Southwest, Afiju, Iwaljowa, or local governments have been affected. The federal government officially launched the maternal and neonatal mortality reduction innovation in the state aimed at addressing the alarming rates of maternal and childbirth in high-risk community. Declaring the event open, the Oyo State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Oluwaseremi Ajetumobi, explained that the program was designed to explore effective strategies for reducing maternal mortality to the barest minimum across the states. Dr. Ajetumobi urged all stakeholders present to serve as ambassadors of the Maternal and Newborn Mortality Reduction Innovation Initiative (MAMI) to ensure that its message and objectives are effectively disseminated throughout the state.
There is no way a religious leader will talk to the people, even our obas. There is no way they will call on us and people will not be able to know this and this and this are what we need to do. So that's the whole essence of bringing all of us together so that we know that, okay, maternal and neonatal mortality reduction is a target and it's something that is achievable.
Delivering sensitization lectures on the Maternal and Newborn Mortality Reduction Innovation Initiative, the Oyo State MAMI Coordinator, Mr. Oluwatumishi Hadiagbo, and the Deputy Director of the Sector-Wide Approach in Health SWAP Coordination Office, Abuja, Mr. Omoruyi Iyahe, revealed that statistics indicate about 272 local government areas across Nigeria have high maternal and newborn mortality rates, with 4 of those located in Oyo State. They both expressed optimism that the workshop would generate practical solutions to significantly reduce maternal and newborn deaths in the affected local government areas of the state.
Stakeholders across board have been mobilized and invited for us to sit down and have a plan on how we want to crash this burden. We will be going to the field essentially where this maternal deaths happen.
How do you continue doing the same thing and expect a different result? So that's also what even brought about the design of the Nigerian Health Sector Renewal Investment Initiative to be driven by using the SWAP approach.
Earlier in his opening address, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Health, Dr. Akintunde Hainde, stated that the state's focus would center on implementing community-driven solutions aimed at improving health literacy, promoting male involvement, and enhancing emergency transportation system, amongst others. In their separate goodwill messages, the chairman of the Oyo State Hospital Management Board, Dr. Akin Fagbemi, the executive secretary of the Oyo State Primary Health Care Board, Dr. Muhyiddin Olatunji, the executive secretary of the Oyo State Health Insurance Agency, Dr. Shola Hakande, the Iyaloja of Ibadan, Chief Iswat, affirmed their commitment to supporting efforts that will strengthen sustainable healthcare delivery across the states. The event had in attendance notable personalities, including the Balogun of Ibadan, Obatajudi Ajibola, as well as religious leaders and other critical stakeholders. Oluwapemi Bamidele, Agidigbo FM News.
And now it's time to link up with our United Kingdom studio for the foreign news.
News from Pelu Adenike studio, Agidigbo FM, United Kingdom. I am Olushola Damilola. All the remaining living hostages in Gaza have been freed from Hamas captivity after 2 years of war. A group of 13 hostages were escorted across the border by the Israeli military after 7 people were earlier released. As part of the first phase of the United States ceasefire agreement, 250 Palestinian prisoners serving life sentences were also let go. Also, 1,718 Palestinian detainees held by Israeli without charges since October 7, 2023, regained their freedom. However, hundreds of people gathered outside Nazar Hospital in southern Gaza to welcome their loved ones. United Kingdom Navy ship intercepted 3 small boats traveling across the Gulf of Oman, carrying £35 million worth of illegal narcotics. The naval spokesperson said the crew on the small boat tried to throw their cargo into the water and speed away. However, the squad found more than 1.5 tons of drugs, which include heroin, crystal methamphetamine, and cannabis concentrates. Minister for the Armed Forces, Akans, however, commended the team and stated that the outcome was highly successful, which will remove large quantities of narcotics away from the streets. And that ends the news from Kule Hamzat Studio at Gidigbo FM, United Kingdom. I am Olushola Damilola.
You're welcome back. And now we shall also be moving to our Maryland studio, United States, for more foreign news.
News from Pelu Adenike Studio at Gidigbo FM, United States. I am Oluwatosin Soya. U.S. President Donald Trump hailed a dawn of a new Middle East in remarks before the Israeli parliament earlier today after Hamas freed all living hostages and Israel released Palestinian prisoners under the U.S. brokered ceasefire deal. Trump has arrived in Egypt for a summit with world leaders on Gaza's future. The 20 remaining living hostages in Gaza were returned to Israel earlier today after 2 years of war. The bodies of 28 hostages who are presumed dead are still in the enclave. All 250,000 Palestinian prisoners and more than 1,700 detainees from Gaza held by Israel without charge since the Hamas-led attacks on October 7, 2023 have now been released. Emotional scenes unfolded as the freed hostages reunited with their families in hospitals across the Israel and as Palestinian prisoners met with their relatives in the West Bank and arrived in buses to large crowds in Gaza. Madagascar's president has fled the African nation, the head of the opposition and other officials said on Monday, the second time that young protesters have toppled the government in weeks of worldwide Gen Z unrest. Leader of the opposition in parliament told reporters that the president left Madagascar yesterday after units of the army defected and joined the protesters. The president's office, which had earlier said Rajoelina would address the nation at 7 p.m. on Monday, did not reply to requests for comment. Demonstrations had erupted in the former French colony on September 25 over water and power shortages, but quickly escalated into an uprising over broader grievances, including corruption, bad governance, and lack of basic services. Rajoelina had appeared increasingly isolated after losing support of CAPSAT and allied units which had helped him seize power in a 2009 coup. CAPSAT joined the protesters over the weekend, saying it refused to shoot on them and escorting thousands of demonstrators in the main square of the capital. That ends the news from Kule Hamzat Studio at Gidigbo FM, United States. I am Oluwatosin Soya.
And now the exciting world of sports. The management of Bendel Insurance Football Club has approved the appointment of Coach Kennedy Boboye as the technical manager of the club after a mutual agreement between the management of the Benin Arsenals and Coach Boboye for him to assume full responsibility for the club's technical department with immediate effect. After a thorough evaluation, the management found Coach Boboye suitable for the role and has offered him a substantive 2-year contract. The decision is based on his proven track record, impressive credentials, and extensive experience in the Nigeria Premier Football League (NPFL). Arrangements have been concluded for the official unveiling of the Delta-born tactician in Benin City on Tuesday, 14th of October 2025. The management of Bendel Insurance FC is optimistic that Coach Boboye's appointment will usher in a new phase of improved performance and renewed confidence in the ongoing season. To wrap up the news this evening, here is a recap of the headlines. Federal government enforces no work, no pay on striking ASU members. Oyo government prioritizes maternal child health by strengthening primary healthcare systems. Trump urges Israel and Palestinians to embrace peace after Hamas frees all living hostages. Madagascar's president has left the country after Gen Z protests. Bendel Insurance FC appoints Coach Kennedy Boboye as technical manager. And before we go this evening, here is a quick tip. The highest reward for a person's toil is not what they get for it, but what they become by it. Finally, we have come to the end of the news around the world on the most listened to radio station, Akojopo 88.7 FM, Ibadan. I am Raula Yusuf. Thank you for listening. Good evening.
News is information, and information is power. At Agidigbo 88.7 FM, we bring the news from top to bottom.
The Oyo State government has said the over 1.5 million out of school children.
We give you reports from Oyo State.
The Oyo State House of Assembly has called for thorough investigation.
The Southwest in Nigeria and the rest of the world.
Has clarified that the body did not receive any cash support from international development.
Trust us to keep you informed every hour, every day.
Agidigbo 88.7 FM, the people's voice. Agidigbo 88.7 FM.
Lówelówe là lùlù Àgídìgbò, ọlọ́gbọ́n ló lè yẹ, àwọn òmùgọ̀ lè dámọ̀ jàlámọ̀. Iná tó jólókò níjọ́sí, màjàlá ló wálé wá rò. We're deep in the truth and culture to the core. Àgídìgbò 88.7 FM, the people's voice. Baba.
Agidigbo 88.7 FM. The radio station that stays